Hey everybody, mel0n here. Welcome back to another episode of the mel0n Review. Today we're going to be checking out a very unique mouse that comes with a very unique feature I don't think I've ever seen before. Today we're going to be doing unboxing and first impressions of the Edifier Hecate G3M Pro. I'm hoping I said that right, but that is a very hard name to pronounce. Now, thank you very much to Mec who was kind enough to send out the GM3 for me to take a look at. I greatly appreciate it. Now, this is going to be a quick unboxing and first impressions video. I will have a much more in-depth written and full video review and a teardown of the G3M Pro coming out in a couple weeks after this video goes live, so be sure to drop a sub here so you don't miss those videos coming out in a couple weeks. But that's all the housekeeping stuff. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, now in terms of the unboxing, we have the G3M Pro here. Now I went with the mint colorway. It is also available in black and white. There is a USB-A dongle that is stored in the bottom of the mouse in this little compartment here. There is USB-A to C cable, a USB-C to A adapter. Now I did want to quickly note here, I love the color of this mouse and of course the cables here. It's really refreshing to see some really unique colored cables. They're always usually boring colors. Having the really nice colors is really cool to see. And of course, we also have a user manual. There is no extra skates or grips included. Now, the G3M Pro retails for $39.99 USD, so it is well within that budget performance price range. It is using a 3395 sensor, but I don't know what the MCU or switch is in, but I will talk about that for the final review. Now, this unit is advertised as coming in at 63 grams, which is surprisingly high for a mouse this size. Now, this is with USB-A dongle removed, of course. Now, my unit comes in around 63.10 grams, which is well within a +2- gram ratio. Now, the weight is definitely on the higher side, but I'm hoping it's going to justify that with some very solid build quality, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, the really cool feature here about the G3M Pro is that you can actually swap the switches on this mouse to work between a game mode and a silent mode. Now, I don't really know how this mechanic works. I'm very interested to open this mouse and see how it works on the inside, but basically you can kind of move this little switch on the bottom of the mouse and it changes the click from like a standard clicky click to like a kind of thumpy click, if that makes sense. It's a really big change in how the clicks feel. Very interesting. I've never seen this before. It's a very cool feature. I actually like the way the clicks feel in the silent mode. They feel very interesting. Now, my theory is that this is like moving a piece of plastic with some kind of film over the switch to dampen the sound, or it could be moving an entirely separate switch into it, because again, this mouse is 63 grams, so maybe there's extra switches on the inside. I'm not really sure how it's managed to do these silent and game mode switches, but I'll talk more about that in the full review. Now, in terms of shell shape, it is 119 millimeters long, it is 61 millimeters wide, and 39 millimeters tall. It is a Viper Mini-esque shape with some differences. It does definitely feel very small in my 7.5 by 5 inch hands, but I'll experiment with some different grip styles for the final review. Now, I will say the G3M doesn't appear to have any kind of coating. It just seems to be raw plastic. Now, given the price point of this, I understand that because the Keychron mice were kind of the similar vein, where the outside of the mouse was just kind of raw plastic, but they are very budget-oriented mice. The G3M is also in the same boat here, so that's understandable. It is a little unfortunate not to see any kind of grip tape included, but again, it's a budget mouse, so that's kind of forgivable here. Now, the G3M is a tri-connectivity mouse, so it works via wired USB-C connection, 2.4 gigahertz, and Bluetooth. Now, the report rate for the G3M is capped to 1K polling rate, but seeing that this is a work hybrid mouse, that is completely okay. Now, in terms of build quality, the G3M is very solidly built. This thing is like a rock, which definitely does justify the 63 gram weight a little bit. It's still a little on the heavier side for my personal taste, but given the build quality, I'm okay with this. Kind of going into the same line as the Vaxi mice, where they're very heavy, but they're also built extremely well. The G3M kind of falls into that same category. And then lastly, the stock skates on the G3M are the fairly standard looking PTFE skates. There's one large area skate at the top and two smaller ones at the bottom. They feel okay. They're a little on the fast side, but they're pretty standard stock skates. Of course, I'll do some more testing on these and see if aftermarkets feel a little better, but I'll talk more about that in the full review. But overall, this is a very interesting little mouse. Again, definitely on the smaller side, definitely a little heavy for its size, but it has really good build quality, and this really cool like game mode silent mode switches are really cool. I really want to know how this feature actually works, but I'll talk about that more in the full review, of course. But I'm going to go do a couple runs in Kovacs to do some initial performance impressions, and I'll be back for some final thoughts. Alrighty, I went ahead and did a couple runs of Kovacs with the G3M, and this mouse is actually pretty surprising. This mouse reminds me a lot of Keychron mice, where the Keychron mice were originally work mice that just happened to have really good gaming performance, and work was their optimized use case, and then they kind of went into this like hybrid use case like the Keychron M2, where it's a really good work and office mouse, but it's also a really good gaming mouse. This mouse feels very similar to that kind of genre of mouse. The price also definitely does push it in that direction because it is pretty cheap as well. So it's a very budget oriented hybrid mouse with multi-connectivity and these really cool adjustable switches. Now, the best way I can kind of say how these switches feel is with the game mode on, they feel like a standard mouse switch, but with the game mode off, it feels like a membrane keyboard. But imagine like a membrane keyboard switch in a mouse, if that makes sense. It's very unique, very weird. I actually kind of like the way it feels, because like I used to use those old IBM membrane keyboards all the time when I was a kid, and I love those things, and having that like tactile membrane feel on a mouse, while is bad for performance, actually feels kind of good, and that makes sense. It's really weird, but this is definitely a very, very cool mouse. I really like this unique feature. I'm very, very interested to see how it works on the inside. I'm wondering if there's like a piece of plastic that has like a membrane switch that goes over the switch or like something. I wonder how they're doing this, but I'll crack it open and I'll talk about that more for the full review. But overall, this is a very, very unique mouse. I'm really excited to take a deeper dive into this and see how it holds up over testing and see how this mouse actually is. Again, a very, very cool product, but I'll have to see how it holds up over testing. But that is going to be everything for my unboxing and first impressions of the G3M Pro. Thank you very much again to Mel0n, who was kind enough to send this out for me to take a look at. I greatly appreciate it. Again, I will have a full video and written review for the G3M, and I will have a teardown video on this mouse after that, coming in a couple weeks after I have some time to do some more testing. So be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss those videos, and the written review, of course, coming out very soon. And just before we go, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel here so you don't miss those full review videos coming out in a little bit. If you'd like to support the channel, you can become a member here on YouTube. That is the best way to directly support the channel, and members get their name shouted out at the end of the videos. You can also support the channel by using code mel0n over at Mel0n, Lethal Gaming Gear, TJ Exclusives, and Raven Mousepads to save a little bit of money on your order and help support the channel that way. But that is everything for today's episode of the mel0n review. Thank you very much, and I will catch you guys in the full review in a couple weeks. Peace.